Hi everyone, Skimming here again. Today I'm gonna give you a sketchbook tour. Last time I did give you only half of the sketchbook. So now that I've completed this one, I'm gonna talk about the rest of it. Before we start, you might be wondering what kind of book this is. This is a Hanamule brand. This is the same kind of book, except that this one that I'm holding right now is an A5 size. So this is not used yet. So probably if I got time towards the end of the video, I'm going to talk about other sketchbooks that I actually use or will be using. So let's get back to this. I'm going to open up to the part which I last showed you. So this is the one. But before I want to proceed, I would like to have a quick review, because the last time I did a video I didn't really talk, because I just made like continuous video with some background music. So let me just go and give you a quick review. So this is when I climb up the Running Canyon Park with my niece. I visited the place last year, so as you can see, that's April 2017. This is a few days before my birthday. This is in LA in California. And this one is from Palawan. A few years back, I visited Palawan with my good friends. I think that was probably in year 2012. And then we went to this very beautiful island called Sugar Beach, if I'm right. So this is the beach front when the sun was setting, and you can see that I tried to describe the sun's highlights on the bushes along the coast. It was a very nice experience. And let's just skip the flowers. So this one is from my travel in Florida. So this is how my cousin's backyard sort of looks like. So it's really nice. So my cousin was so kind to let me stay in her place for a month. As you can see, I've written in here Tampa, Florida, and there's a big lake, and every day I would go out to see if I could see some crocs or gators, but unfortunately for my entire stay I wasn't able to see one. And then this is just a quick sketch of, you know, that scene that I captured in my phone while me and my niece were driving down the road in LA. I can't remember exactly where this was. It's probably somewhere in Santa Monica. And this is in Dubai. So one of the beaches in the Jumeirah area. This one is a painting of a rework of an old painting, but it's also based on an old photo that me and my cousin took on top of San Jose. He brought me there just before sunset, and I decided to take a picture, and I decided to paint it again the second time. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you the original, the old painting that I did, and obviously this one is probably a lot better than the first one, because it's actually years apart from the first time I attempted to paint the scene. And this is a scene from a small town in Davao Oriental. It was actually my ex-husband's place. So as you can see that there is a boat right there. The lifestyle was so idyllic, and I like how I was able to paint the boat with a few details. You can see the coast. This place is actually facing the Gulf. I'm not sure if I still got more drawings of travels. Okay, and this one is also from the Middle East. This is in Jumeirah. There's a small place in there where I would pick up my art materials, and across it is like an interesting building, so I decided to just take a photo, and then later on I decided to draw it. So this is not just watercolor, it's a mix of watercolors and pastels. And this is Sentosa. You might say that it doesn't look like Sentosa in Singapore, but actually it is. So there's some area in Sentosa in the beachfront where you could actually see some pine trees in there, and this white stuff in here is supposed to be reflections on the water. And this one was when I traveled to Germany last time, and I happened to pass by this old building and the structure looks so interesting, so I decided to just do a quick pencil sketch, but I was just too lazy to finish it, so that's why it looks like this. This one is also a place in Berlin, just near my hotel. There's this structure. It says here Leibnizstraße, Berlin, so that's the place. And anyway, I use my soluble colored pencils, Albrecht Dürer, for this one. And then this is the part near the hotel. It says Oliverplatz. It actually just means Oliver platform. And there's this graffiti on the walls. And actually this is the place where I first saw my cherry blossoms, because that time it was spring, so the flowers are to bloom. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take pictures of those trees. So that's it. So let's try to move forward. So now this painting is a photo that I took of that building top of Lake Tahoe. I think it should be called Heavenly Resort. So they have this huge structure in there where you could actually shop and buy food. So those are the mountains with all those snow and the pine trees, and you could actually do your snow sports. So this is just a quick supposedly portrait, but of course it looks nothing like me. I was just looking at my face through the mirror, and then, you know, I'm still practicing my portrait skills, but nonetheless it still looks like a human being, so I'm just glad about that. This one here is just a, I would say, random flower sketch using my Schminke watercolor set. So let me just take my Schminke out. So this is the Schminke. Sometimes I have trouble pronouncing the German words. So this is a 24 color set, which I bought last time, and if you would open it, you can see how beautiful the colors are. And you can also tell that I hardly use it. And I think I have another video showing all the artist grade watercolors, I mean. And then on the other page is just a comparison of various shades. So as you can see, I've written here, that's a Da Vinci Raw Umber, Lucas Raw Umber, Holbein Sepia, and this one is a Lucas Indigo. So Holbein is actually a Japanese watercolor brand. Lucas is a German brand as well, but it's a lot cheaper than the Schminke brand. And the Da Vinci is, I'm not sure what kind of, I mean where it originated from. Let's move to the next page. Now this is a plant that my mom has in her place. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like a red coral. The whole painting looks a bit dark, but that's just how it is like when I saw this flower, I mean, or this plant, because it's just right beside, you know, there's a small walkway from the front yard towards the backyard, and this plant just grew in there. So they have this, it has this huge heart-shaped leaves, and I don't know if the plant is still in there though. I have to check next time I visit my mom's place. And then this is a painting of a white flower. Unfortunately, I couldn't exactly remember if, you know, definitely this isn't a rose, you know, but I couldn't remember my reference. So what I did is I leave out the white of the sketchbook to show that that is the petal, and you actually just need to paint on the shadows or the shaded areas. And I decided to put like a colorful background on it. And more flowers. This is, I think, should be a rose, but it's a little distorted, but nonetheless I was happy with how it looked like. As you can see, the colors that we used for this are painted on the right side. The bad thing is when I do put in my swatch, I hardly write the name of the colors, so that leaves me guessing again whenever I try to attempt to paint the same thing. So obviously this is a free style watercolor painting with no structure. Sometimes I want to do this kind of paintings because it makes me feel relaxed. And then this is just a random scenery. I was using my small palette for this, so I mixed these colors on the right to come up with this one. I don't know if you can see that this is supposedly like a sunset, and that's, you know, the blue sky right there. Another floral painting, and this one is based on an image that I saw on YouTube. I was just listening to music and I decided to paint the background. I mean the background video of the music that I was listening to. So those are supposed to be like very I would say tall pine trees, and this is the lake and those are the reflections, and this should be like a sunset scene. And this page in here is actually just a test page for my Davenport watercolor set. I did have a video on this one, and I don't know if I will put the link later at the bottom in the description. So this one is a mermaid. I love mermaids so much that I never get tired of painting them, and sometimes I run out of words to describe, you know, what they are. Anyway, for this painting I was trying to put in details on her tail, but I didn't do so good in putting details on her hair and her face though. And I had a hard time with the shadows and on the reflections of light on her skin. So probably I'm gonna try again and see. And this one is an experiment of using all my different greens from the watercolors that I have. There is really no story to this painting. I just decided to just, you know, paint all the leaves. I think that this is more like a test of my patience rather than like a real watercolor activity, because as you can see I was using the same stroke all over, you know, all over the place, but just selecting different shades of green. And then this is supposed to be a forest with woods, and I always actually have this kind of painting once in a while because it reminds me of my dad. When I was little, probably I was maybe 4, 5, 6, he actually taught me how to paint. So he would like put in the masking tape across the paper, and he would just put a wash over it, and then I would always be like surprised how it turned out, and he would say that the whites are actually the barks of the trees and the rest of it is, you know, the forest. But of course he left when I was 8 years old. I was quite young, but this memory of, you know, my dad teaching me how to paint the woods is, you know, something that I would always remember. And then this one is like a botanical painting of an actual leaf that I collected here in my place. I was using my Derwent inks, so it's not traditional watercolor, instead it's ink and block form. So this is how it looks like. These are my intense ink blocks. I'll just open it and show you. So I have here 12 of these ink blocks. I want to have more because it looks so vibrant on the paper. And the last page would be my version of that fountain that you could see. If you go to Santo Niño Church here in Cebu, there is a fountain in there in the middle of the garden, and I decided to paint it. It's not a live painting though. I mean, I didn't do it, you know, while I was visiting. I took a photo and then I decided to paint it later. As you can see, I was using my nibs to, you know, lay out the line drawing, and then I painted it with watercolor. Alright, so that's my sketchbook tour. I don't know if I sounded too boring. So now it's time for me to share with you some of the different sketchbooks that I actually have with me and will be using. So I've already shown you this one. This is similar to the book that I just showed you. This is made of cellulose paper. It's not so thick, but it's good enough to hold watercolor, and I advise it for people who just likes to keep a simple sketchbook without spending too much money. It's not so expensive, and I actually bought this one in Singapore in this shop called Art Friend. This one I bought actually in Germany. And then we have more in here. This one is a big block. It's not really designed for watercolor, but it could take watercolor quite well. As you can see on the sample drawing on the cover, it's a mixture of inks and, you know, I don't know if it's watercolor or what kind of other medium of color, I'm not sure. So this is a sample that I did on the paper, and the second sheet I did a painting of a face. So it's not bad to use for watercolor, I'd say. So this is a combination of oil, pencil, and my watercolors. And then we have here this Japanese postcard pad, I'd say. So it's called Lamplight. You could, I don't know where to find it, but I bought this one in Singapore. And it's made of 100% cotton. I only used it a few times, and this is like one of those drawings that I never took out of the pad. So this is like a scenery of, you know, evergreens. If you notice, I made some marks here of some random, I would say, branches. I actually used like a white pencil to create that effect. Unfortunately, I don't have so much in this book, and on the other end you could actually see my niece painting. So she did this. This is, I think, a Pokemon character. It says here Bellsprout because I asked her to paint me something botanical, so she did this on my sketchbook. So that's quite nice. She knows the values, you know, of paint. As you can see, she decided this part to be darker and that portion to be darker as well, because light would fall on this part. It's not bad for like an 8-year-old. And then I have this book which I purchased on Instagram. It should be from this account called HalfPanPH. PH means Philippines. So it's made of Arches paper, which is 100% cotton, and the thickness for this one is 300 grams per square meters. It's quite nice, but it was challenging for me to use it because I'm not really used to painting on cotton paper. So this is a painting of a photo that my Instagram friend gave me. She took this from her garden, and then she actually sent me a few more photos, but I decided to just choose this one to paint. So her name is Jo, and I don't know if I might be putting her Instagram handle in the description below. I haven't really used up the book yet because it's only recently that I started using it. And then I have here my Fabriano. It's a smooth cotton paper because it's a hot press, as you can see in the description. Unfortunately, I took out the only painting that I did and gave it away to a friend. I think I did take a photo and posted it on Instagram, and then ever since that time I have not used the paper, so I'm just really intimidated to use this sketchbook. And then I have here two more that I haven't really used. So this is Tremor watercolor paper. It says 48 pages, the reason I bought this is because you could open it flat. Not all books behave this way. And you can see that there is a stitch along the center, so that should make sure that the pages are all intact. And this is also watercolor paper. It's more like a postcard paper with a, you know, a bigger size. This is an A5 postcard. It's called Guardi Artistico Aquarello. I did use it, but I tear it off, so there's nothing to show you. So guys, these are all my sketch pads, but that's not really true because I think I should have more back in my mom's place and probably in somewhere in my cupboard. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and give love and subscribe. Bye!